When I was a kid, a teacher once told me, "I just know you're going to be really good at this." She had no real reason to believe that. She just said it. Bad news. Your personality might not be entirely your own doing. Good news. Once you know how this trick works, you can use it on other people, completely legally. In 1968, researchers walked into a California elementary school with a test called the Harvard Test of Inflected Acquisition. Sounds official, right? It's completely made up. It does not exist. They told teachers a random 20% of students on that fake test had scored exceptionally and were expected to bloom that year. The names were picked completely at random. Nothing special about those kids. Except now their teacher believed something was. By the end of the year, those randomly labeled kids' IQ scores had actually increased more than their classmates. Nothing about them changed going in. What changed was how their teacher treated them. Teachers weren't lying or cheating. They just unconsciously gave the expected to bloom kids more attention, harder questions, more patience, warmer body language, all without realizing they were doing it. The kids picked up on that and started acting like the smart kid everyone already seemed to believe they were. Psychologists call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. I call it emotional peer pressure from one adult. This same effect shows up everywhere expectations get communicated. In one military study, researchers told instructors that certain trainees had strong command potential. Those trainees ended up rated as better leaders by the end of training. Same as the classroom kids, just with more push-ups. Full honesty, this study has been picked apart for decades. Some replication attempts found smaller effects than the original, and a few critics question the methodology entirely. So this isn't some flawless magic spell, but the core idea that expectations change behavior which changes outcomes has held up across a lot of separate research, including outside the classroom. It's real. It's just not as dramatic as the version that goes viral. This whole concept is literally named after a story. In Greek myth, a sculptor named Pygmalion falls in love with a statue he carved, and his belief in it is so strong it comes to life. Centuries later, George Bernard Shaw wrote a play called Pygmalion. A professor bets he can turn a flower seller into someone who passes as nobility, purely by treating her like she already is one. You've probably seen the movie version, My Fair Lady. Same trick, just with a top hat. There are two ways to actually use this. 1. Raise your own expectations of yourself. That's called the Galatea effect. Basically the same trick aimed inward. 2. When you genuinely believe someone can do something and treat them like it, more patience, more trust, slightly harder challenges, they tend to rise toward it. Just don't go full drill sergeant. There's also a flip side called the golem effect, where low expectations quietly drag people down. So maybe stop telling your coworker they're bad at this. They might be listening more than you think. So, a fake test, a real result, a myth, a play, and a military unit full of guys doing push-ups. Apparently, that's psychology. Cool. Anyway, also, quick disclaimer. I'm a stick figure who reads psychology papers for fun, not a licensed psychologist. This video's for entertainment and education only. If you want real mental health support, talk to an actual professional. If this messed with your head a little, subscribe. I dig up one weirdly human thing like this every week. I'm on every other platform too. Links are down below, and vice versa.